Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 4 new altcoins that I bought on this dip. These are 4 that I'm going to be holding for the length of the entire cycle because I really do believe in these from a fundamental perspective. And then we're also going to be talking about the macro perspective of Bitcoin. What does this recent breakout mean for the long term? Are we about to see another face-melting rally inside of Bitcoin as we go above 30,000? Or is this a bull trap before we get another couple months of consolidation? The people that are understanding this and know how to profit off it moving forward are going to make the most profit possible when the volatility kicks in. So for today's video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I'm playing the market from here and how everybody else could in order to make a good profit. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now here we are to start off today's video, and I figured that the best value to you guys would be to start by talking about the big picture. There is still a lot of people out there that think that we're going to be going to 10K. There's a lot of people out there that still think that this is a bear market rally, and there's a lot of big influencers on YouTube as well as Twitter that are calling for $500 Ethereum, $10,000 Bitcoin, and these are just going to be the people that end up missing out on the majority of that move up. And I think it's really important that if you're going to be early to a bull run, you got to be early to a bull run. You know, there's always the people that end up telling you we're going to go lower. They think to themselves they're going to know the exact bottom. They get greedy, and then they miss out on the real bottom that takes place. And that's what I believe is happening right now when it comes time to talk about the crypto markets. Now, first things first, guys. We can go back throughout the entire history of Bitcoin, and we can see the same thing that has played out over the course of a 10-year trend. Once we actually break out of the descending resistance and the new downtrend starts acting as support, then we start a 3-year uptrend. And that's the case every single one of our cycles. Now, the way that you know if a 4-year cycle is completed is you measure from the peak low of the bear market to the peak low of the next bear market. And it should equal about 1,450 days. And that's exactly what we see. We see from the high of the top of the bull market to the low of the bottom of the bear market. We see 1 year in duration. From the bottom of the cycle bear market to the top of the next bull cycle, we see 3 years worth of an uptrend, 1,064 days. And then if we actually look at analyzing from the peak low of the bear market to the peak low of the next bear market, that also equals 4 years. So we have multiple different data points to pull off of. Now on top of that, if we come over here to our most recent cycle in 2018, this is going to be taking us into pretty much the same thing. The only difference here is this one lines up even better in a 4-year cycle. The bear market was almost exactly 365 days, only 1 day off from being a perfect 1 calendar year. Once we broke out of descending resistance, that started the 3-year uptrend. And if we draw this all the way over to where Bitcoin topped, 1,064 days, just like the last cycle. And from that point, if we analyze from the bottom of our 2018 bear market all the way over here to the bottom of the FTX collapse, it equals the exact same time as the bottom of our 2015 cycle to the bottom of our 2018. So you're looking at the exact same cycle all the way through. It's a 4-year cycle. And so what we're seeing right now, you know, is the exact same thing that's happened over the last 10 years, and we're beginning a new 3rd cycle. If we look at this, basically since the very bottom of this FTX collapse, that was the beginning of the new cycle. So if history has taught us anything, it's that we're going to see a 3-year uptrend, right? 1,064 days up. So if that's the case, and November was the bottom, 1,064 days from that point is going to be taking us to basically October of 2025, pretty much the end of 2025 as our blow off top. And so for anybody that's telling you that we're going to go to 10K, they're really just betting against history, because thus far history has told us that the second that we break out of this descending resistance, the second that all of our time frames line up, that's the beginning of the new bull run. So on top of all of that happening with our time frames, we also broke out of descending resistance on the log scale. Every time that we've done this, it's produced a new bull run. And we're doing it right now. And what's interesting to me is this most recent sell-off that we were in was us retesting that descending resistance as support, and then we instantly got a buyback. I don't find it coincidental whatsoever that that's happening. I find it very much on par with what my analysis has been telling me that says that we are in a new bull trend. And so if that's the case, if we go back in history and look at where price ended up after the very beginning breakout of descending resistance, we can go all the way back over to here. We can see that we did that right here for Bitcoin. We retested support. And then we got our first breakout in higher high. And from that point, Bitcoin literally just uptrended for about a year to a year and a half. and then we went for this massive blow off top. And it's pretty much the same case through all of these cycles. The only difference here, if we're comparing back in 2019 and 2020, was the fact that we had the COVID black swan. But it's still the same thing. I mean, this was still an uptrend, and then that still led us to another blow off top that took place. And so, in theory, if we're going to be seeing the same thing, if we've broken out of descending resistance, we should expect to see a new uptrend that is formed. And so I'd say something along the lines of this. I can't say exactly what it'll look like. Potentially we end up getting the same consolidation as what we saw back in 2019, where we see this big move off of the lows, which really could happen. We could see an extended move off of the lows like that. I was telling you guys that I didn't find it was likely because of the fact I was expecting a couple months of consolidation down here. But the problem with that was we didn't get a couple months of consolidation. The dip instantly got bought up when it hit the 618, and we're already breaking out of the range highs. We're already over 25,000 and a half. We've already gotten over the August highs as stands today. And so, honestly, guys, if there's really anybody telling you that we're bearish, I think you should unsubscribe for them. I think you should unfollow them, because chances are they don't know what they're talking about, and you're going to end up costing yourself a lot of money in the process. There are so many different data points that we can look at that is telling us that we've began the new bull run, that we're going to have a much bigger move off of these lows, and that's really all that this most recent breakout was telling me, was that the market's much more bullish than you're expecting, and so you should look to be holding and look to really be maximizing the fullness of that bull trend before it really takes place. So while there's people waiting for 10K, while there's people waiting for a $500 Ethereum, this market's getting ready to break out in a big way, and because of that, most of these people waiting are going to get left behind. And so I felt like it was necessary to talk about this just as a way to help you guys remember to stay the course of the full trend. You don't need to be trading in and out of the market like me. All you really need to be doing is buying and holding for the long term. And if you just remember that any dip that comes in is most likely going to get bought up, and you just keep in mind that we have a 3-year uptrend still ahead of us, just remember all of that, because it really helps to eradicate all of the noise, all of the volatility in the market, all of the different people giving opinions. If you know that we're getting ready for a 3-year uptrend, you don't really need to focus on what anybody else says. You just really need to be focusing in on buying and accumulating more of your position. And that's what I see fit going over the next 3 years of Bitcoin cycle. Now, let's talk about the 4 altcoins on today's video. They're going to break down exactly which altcoins I bought on this dip, why I bought them, why I think that these are going to be good long-term holds, and then talking about where I see prices heading from here. Now, guys, if you find value in any of these altcoins, if you guys want to know what I'm trading, when I'm buying all of these, if you guys wanted to follow these signals before I ever talked about them on YouTube, you got to join my Discord server. You got to get in there to my private group. Links are in the description. Go ahead and sign up. Now, guys, right off the bat, the first one we're going to be talking about today is GMX. GMX is my all-time favorite altcoin for this next cycle, I would say, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I really believe in Arbitrum, and this is the biggest one on Arbitrum. I started buying this at about $300 to $350 million in total market cap. We're approaching closer and closer to $1 billion in total market cap, and we're actually seeing the transactions of Arbitrum just going through the roof. And so everything that I thought was going to happen with Arbitrum is happening, and really everything that I thought was going to happen with GMX is happening as well. Now, a lot of people have been buying into this since I started talking about it, which is why I wanted to cover it a little bit today. We can see that we had this massive resistance for a long period of time. This was the main resistance. Once we broke out of all-time highs and flipped these as support, I told you guys that this was a good opportunity to be buying, getting that support and resistance flip. We went for one more high, and then we came back down and even gave everybody another attempt at buying back in. But once again, this most recent sell-off just saw us holding above the previous all-time highs, and it ended up being a big support and resistance flip. So if we get any sort of sell-off in here, this thing pulls back anywhere, I don't know how high it would pull back. I'm expecting that this thing's going to continue to go up. And so I think that this one is, destined for new all-time highs. This one's going to go well past $100. And it's one of the more bullish altcoins out there in the whole market. If what you're seeing here is when the market takes off, when you're seeing Bitcoin breakout, whatever altcoins are having the biggest moves, both to the upside and the downside, those are going to be the ones that continue to outperform. And with GMX, it has 100% been one of those altcoins. It's outperformed Bitcoin. It's outperformed a lot of the other altcoins. Whenever Bitcoin breaks out, this one follows it. And oftentimes, it does bigger moves than Bitcoin. And I really think that this one's going to be one of those long-term altcoins that we should focus on. They have really changed the game when it comes to creating a platform to generate fees, to be able to pay those fees back to token holders and all of that. And it's all being done through a decentralized exchange, which is a huge thing that I see performing well over the course of a full cycle. We saw all the centralized exchanges, all the lenders going bankrupt. It just gives a huge value proposition for why you should use a DEX. And with this one being the spotlight of of Arbitrum, I think that GMX is set in its ways to be one of the very best, if not the very best, over the cycle. I'm staking all of mine. I'm holding all of mine for the long term. I'm not looking to trade in and out of it. I'm literally holding it for the long term of the cycle because I really believe this one's going to be one of those leaders. And so with that being said, now that we've flipped all-time highs again, I think that this one's about to have a very, very big move to the upside, and now is the time more than ever before to be holding on to those positions, staking them long term. If you guys want to stake them, I will put a link inside of the description so that you guys can go ahead and do so at your own time. Now, next up on today's list is going to be Metis DAO. Now, Metis DAO is one of those that I've actually been watching for a while at this point. The only problem was when I got hacked in early November, I ended up losing all of the Metis that I bought. So I had to buy back in on a dip. I tried to buy back down in here at 22 bucks, and then I just barely didn't get filled before the whole thing took off, and I thought I was never going to get filled. So once I started to see this market dip all the way back down to basically that same level, I ended up going back in and buying some more. And so it's up about 30% approximately from where we started buying, where the buy orders were given. Remember, guys, if you guys want to follow the buy orders, you guys want to see where I post them, links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. But this is one of my all-time favorite graphs for the long term. It's currently sitting a little over $100 million in total market cap. That, in my opinion, is going to be a pretty good sweet spot when it comes time to finding 100x opportunities. At $100 million in market cap, it's not technically a low cap anymore. They've seen quite a bit of adoption to get to that point, but they're still undervalued enough that if we see a full bull market and they get a lot of adoption and enter, the top 30 in total market cap, you'd be looking at about 100x returns. And so I think that this one is one of those that does put itself inside of that category where once a real bull run starts, I think that this one could be a 100x type of play. And with the altcoin chart itself, I think that this is one of the better charts. Really, the very first cycles that a market ever has, those are going to be where the most profit is made. So even though we saw a big uptrend in the bull run of our last cycle, these altcoins that get added right before the blow off top, those are always going to be the ones that generally perform the best going into the next cycle because they're at the very infancy of their market cycles, right? This one's only had one cycle, had one uptrend, then we had one massive crash, and we've been consolidating ever since. Where I think that we're at today, this itself is like a big double bottom formation. And most recently, this breakout that we just saw, this was the first impulse. And, you can look at this a couple different ways. I'm kind of leaning towards this being 5 waves up there, followed by an expanded flat ABC correction back down. That's kind of the way that I'm watching this market, but it really doesn't matter. The LA wave count isn't important. What's important here, and the reason why I was buying this, is because it was doing a massive support and resistance flip. This level right down in here, this is kind of what I was talking to you guys about with all of these markets and why I said to buy the 618 retrace. It's because if we look in here on the shorter time frames, that's exactly where all of these markets hit. Bitcoin came perfectly down to the 618 and retraced all the way to this consolidation range. Second it hit that, it immediately broke out and even went above the range highs of August. That's why I was telling you guys to buy the 618 is because stuff like this happens at the 618. And we can see that that's the case with Metis as well. I don't know exactly where it went to. If we pull up our Fibonacci, it could have went lower than the 618. It went basically perfect at the 618. It went a little bit lower, but not much. And that's why I said that 618 is an important level, because really what we're looking to buy is support and resistance flips. This was our first lower high support, lower high, lower low. So then the second when we start the new uptrend, we come back down onto these levels, retest them as support, and then that's where we get continuation from that point. And so as it stands, this is one of my all-time favorite charts going into this next cycle. I think that this one's going to do really well. And the most recent breakout that we just saw was an example of that. This is a wave 1 and a wave 2. I think the next move coming is going to be a wave 3 that flips the range highs over here. And then that'll set us in for an even bigger move off of that support and resistance flip. Overall, I wouldn't really be looking to sell anything until new all-time highs. I bought this for the long term, so I don't really care what happens in the short term with this. But this is one of those that I think is going to perform exceptionally well and has real potential of being one of those 100x cryptos. So once again, guys, this is Metis DAO. Do some research. This is one I really like. Next up on today's list is going to be Vela. Now, Vela is one of my favorite cryptos. I've done a really good job trading this over the last couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to just holding this for the long term. Now, with Vela itself, this is a decentralized exchange like GMX, but Vela itself is a better exchange than GMX is, in my opinion. I think it's a much better exchange. It works better. It's easier to use. There's a lot more things that I enjoy about it than it was with GMX. I tried to use GMX and I got confused using it. I didn't get that way when I used this. And so the cool thing I really like about Vela is the fact that they are actually going to be doing an airdrop. So the way that you would get access to that airdrop is it's all around your total volume that you've made trading. So I've made $35 and I've traded $170,000 worth of volume in 14 trades. Keep in mind, guys, that I was just farming for this. I wasn't trying to trade. I was opening up 20x positions, then I was closing them the second that they opened, and that whole purpose was just to get more volume inside of that. So, because that's really the way that you're going to get access to the airdrop. The more volume that you have on their exchange, the more money you're going to get in the airdrop. And then one final thing is probably going to be the staking thing. I actually deposited $100 USDC into their liquidity pool, and you can make a decent amount of money doing that. Like I stated, 121% if you've just got USDC coin laying around. This one could be a good opportunity to earn a little bit of interest on that. It's a huge amount of interest at that. And so, I don't think that it's a bad thing by any means, but I do think you probably have to at least have some money you put in here. So I just put in $100 just to see what happens. The big thing here is the total volume that you're trading, and the only way to do that is just trading it on the exchange. If you're an American, you're going to have a VPN. If you're not, you're fine. But that's basically just how to qualify for their upcoming airdrop. I think that this one is a real airdrop that you guys want to pay attention for. And with the chart itself, that's the main reason I've been buying this. I mean, fundamentally, I think decentralized exchanges are going to do great. I've been investing into quite a few of them. GMX has been one that you guys know I've been investing in. This is one that's only sitting at $40 million in total market cap. And if I'm being completely honest, I like this one more than GMX based off of how it works. And so, with that being said, if this thing hits the market cap of GMX when I bought it at $350 million, we're looking at a 10x in market cap just from right there. And that's, not even going to be close to the market cap that GMX at right now. GMX is sitting close to $1 billion in total market cap. So you be looking at like a 15x approximately, depending on how crazy this thing went, just to get to the same as where GMX is at today. Now, I like this chart a lot because if we look at this based off Elliott waves, we've only ever finished a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 wave up, followed by, most recently, an A, B, C correction back down. Where did the ABC take us? Well, right perfectly flush with the 6.8 Fibonacci. Bink. Perfect. So I actually ended up trading this one. This is one of my better trades of late. I ended up buying most of this just sub $3, and then I ended up selling at $7. So right there, I ended up buying back in at $4. Right there. And so this has been one that I've traded my way up to, and I've put all of my profit that I accumulated off of this one back in on this dip. The reason I took profit up here and the reason I bought back in down here was simply just because of the fact all I wanted was to have more of a position. I've been talking to you guys a lot about the last couple weeks on why we use dips to compound positions. If you have a position that you like to hold for the long term, the best thing that you can do is take profits when it's up, wait for a 30-40% dip, and then buy back with those same profits, because then you've just added more tokens to your portfolio, and you didn't really lose out on anything by doing so. From where I sold to where I bought back in, this one's just a low cap, and so you're looking at like 43%. That was a huge opportunity to compound those gains. So that's why I ended up buying back in. If you guys want to follow those trades, like I said, you can sign up on my website below. But we're sitting at the midway point of this range. So as it stands, it can go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole market kind of pulls back. We do something like this maybe, and then start going up. I don't really care so much. Like I said, I'm in for the long term. I'm just holding mine. But I wanted to talk to you guys about this one today because of the fact if you go and trade on their exchange, even if it's just wash trading like I did, in 14 trades with $3,000 USDC, I spent $100 worth of fees and I accrued $170,000 worth of trade volume. So it really didn't take that much money to do all of that. But, it might be a big amount of money that we win inside of the airdrop. I don't know. But this one for me is, aside from the airdrop, it's a long-term hold. I really firmly believe that this one is going to do really well. And so now that we've seen this buyback, I think that it's likely that, where this one is headed, this one's getting ready for a wave 3. We just saw our first impulse ever. 3 waves up, ABC back down. That means that this entire move is a wave 1. This way ABC was a wave 2. We're getting ready for wave 3, right? So if we look at this based off Fibonacci, we have to go to at least the 1618. in order to confirm that this is truly wave 3. So we have to go to at least $14 approximately. So from where we're at today to where that target is going to be, we're approximately looking at about 160% gains or so. And this one could honestly way overextend that. If we get more hype coming in here around the markets, which I think that we will, this is just the first impulse. Good volume, tons of volume that is being added because of talks around this airdrop. And with this one actually working better than the majority of the decentralized exchanges that I actually see on Arbitrum, this one has a real potential of being right there alongside with GMX. And so I think this is a great long-term hold. You guys should definitely check it out. At the very least, go do some wash trading and get access to their airdrop that's going to come out very soon. Now, last up on today's list is going to be Mummy Finance. Now, I know a lot of you guys personally hold Mummy Finance, which is why I want to talk to you guys about it today. In my last video, I talked about this. We were sitting all the way up here at the range highs, and I talked about why we could potentially see a top. I ended up selling and taking profit on half of my Mummy right here around $8. I don't remember the exact price. I'd have to look at my Discord. But I ended up taking profits on my Mummy at around $8, and then I ended up buying back in at just over $5. And so, as it stands, I'm staking all of mine. My money's back into the market with this one, and I'm just simply looking to hold from this point going forward. I had my original buy order set at $4.50, and they didn't get filled, so I ended up just going ahead and buying it up at a little bit higher price because the market started bouncing. And so, with Mummy Finance, this one to me looks pretty obvious that it's finished wave 1, it's finished wave 3, this was wave 4, and and we still need one more final 5 wave. I don't know how high the 5 wave is going to go. Could overextend, could be a short-lived one. And so it's really hard for me to say exactly what is going to happen. But I would say that once we start breaking all-time highs, you're not really going to be going wrong by taking some profit, even if it overextends higher. I bought back in, and I'm staking all of mine. So I don't really know how I'm going to be trading the market. If we start going into another parabolic move and we're in a price discovery, I'm going to find it very hard not to take some profits just because that's the way it works. But, for anybody that's looking for a long-term hold, Mummy Finance itself is literally GMX, but it's just hard fork of GMX built on Phantom Network. So I'm bullish on Phantom Network. I believe Phantom is going to do extremely well over the course of a full cycle. And with Phantom doing well, all of the ecosystem-related plays are going to do well as a whole. So with this one, Mummy Finance being the exact same thing as GMX, if what we're seeing with GMX is this thing going into price discovery, it's about to just break out and go into new all-time highs, chances are Mummy Finance is going to continue to follow it, because whenever Phantom does well and GMX does well, Mummy Finance does well as a whole. We've already finished wave 3. I believe that the bottom of wave 4 was right here around $5. Now we're about to start the next major impulse, and I don't see why this thing couldn't go to $15 before it's over. From where we're at today, probably not the biggest gain by any means, but if you guys have been buying this from where I first talked about it on YouTube, chances are you guys are already up 3x approximately. And so this is one that if we were to go all the way up to $15 from where you guys were buying it, that'd be looking pretty close to a 10x gain. So I wanted to give you guys an update on this one because I know a lot of you hold it. I wanted to give you guys an update. It's based off of what I'm doing with it. I did take profits, but I've bought back 100% in with the cash that I sold. I'm looking to just compound this one, and I'm looking to compound all of these because, once again, these are some of my favorite holds. With Mummy, I wanted to compound because they've got great staking returns. If you guys want to stake your Mummy, I'll post a link in the description for that one as well. For Vela, airdrop coming up. By getting access and trading on their platform, you're going to get access to the airdrop. This one's an early cycle. I like it because it's a decentralized exchange on Arbitrum, and it works better than GMX. So this is one that I've actually focused a decent amount of my portfolio in. I really believe in this one for the long term. Now, another one is Metis DAO. Metis is one that I really think is going to perform well over the course of a full cycle. We just flipped our prior resistance level as support. So it's looking like we may get some continuation from here, but this one is just in a whole other network. A lot of cryptos are built on this. With this one just retesting prior resistance as support, I think that this one could set itself. I think this one could set itself up for a big move upwards of $90 next. And so long term, this one's going to be into new all-time highs. This is a long-term hold. I don't really care what happens in the short term, but I wanted to get back my portfolio position that I had in this after I got hacked because I lost it all technically. So this one was the last one besides GMX. And GMX is in price discovery, so pay attention to all of these. These are all great long-term holds for me. I'm looking forward to seeing what they turn into. I want to give you guys an update on some of these. If you guys want to know more details, there's been other altcoins that I've bought inside of my Discord server. I closed on some of my long-term, or what I should say is I've closed out of some of my short-term leverage positions. And so if you guys want to be able to follow along with all those, where I'm looking to re-enter, all of anything that I ever do with my money, if you guys have been following me over the last couple weeks and really the last couple months, we've been nailing all of the upswings and downswings inside of this market. We've nailed all of these market corrections so far. We've bought back in, we've taken profits and compounded those gains. And so if you guys want to just know exactly how I'm doing it, simple as that. Links are in the description. Go ahead and sign up. I look forward to seeing you guys in there. We've had a lot of new signees, and so thank you all so much for the support. And even for the people that are just supporting on YouTube, I appreciate each and every one of you. Whether you leave a comment, whether you leave a like, or whether you just tune in and watch the video, it's all important to me, and it all means so much to me, and I'm just very thankful for you guys. And so I wanted to give you this video, share some light on what's going on with the Bitcoin and the macro view, as well as talk about what's taking place in the short term. So thank you all so much for the support, and with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.